what you touched on, which was good, which leads us into um, our next discussion, is the difference in between handicapping and gambling. Listen, we're all gamblers, right? We're all gambling. We're all spending money, whether it's for fun, whether it's to make money, whatever the reason may be. We're all gambling. But how much gambling are you doing? How much of a gamble is the bet that you're making, and I could just always only refer it to sports betting, and especially with sports betting, and same with poker. You need the theory, you need the lessons, you need to have the what I like to call the handicapping part of the bet. You need to have more data driven, less feel. And which is what I did over the years. How I became, we were all just field bettors back in the day, no matter what anyone tells you, because we didn't have this information out. But to me,
Absolutely.
you need to have to get that balance. You can't just be a big risk taker gambler and think you're going to just come into the sports betting world and light it on fire, because trust me, you're not. Just to break even, you got to hit 52%, 52.3%, whatever the exact. I think that's the exact number. Just to break even, you need to be hitting 2% more, than break even. So, you got to keep that in mind. But I think that handicapping is something you have to learn. You have to learn how to, and we're gonna go into all that. We're gonna teach you how we do it and how you could start doing it. How to be more analytic at it, how to use the data, how to what data to use, and then incorporate it into the gambling. Because for me, you got to be a good gambler, which to me means a little bit conservative. You know, for me that means keeping everything to a 1 unit or a half a unit bet 90% of the time. Don't double and triple up your wages. Yeah, of course, every once in a while you could take a shot, but for me, that's how I gamble. Now you incorporate the handicapping part into that, and together you should be able to come out with a pretty good plan on how to start, sports betting. I almost think that handicapping part needs to be that 70% or so, and 30% gambling. I really think you need to be more of a handicapper than a gambler when it comes to this long-term sports betting. But that, also might not work for you. This what I'm telling you to do is what I do and how we do it. But it's not an exact science. It might work for you to do it a little bit, a little bit more gamble, a little less handicapping. But that's what and I consider myself a handicapper, like DJ Big Boss said. Like like a lot of us that you follow on YouTube, we're handicappers. We work at this. I'm at this every day, working on different, theories and different, stats and stuff, and see which work and see what don't work. So that's my theory on handicapping and gambling. What do you think, DJ? Do you feel that it's the same way, or you need to be more balanced with handicapping and gambling?
Man, I guess on the last topic, I did overdo it a little bit on the last topic, but yeah,
No, no, you didn't.
the difference of handicapping and gambling, I kind of already went through that, but yeah, there's not much more I could go on that. But
Well, what do you
uh,
think about as far as do you agree that you need to be both a handicapper and a gambler to be successful at long term
oh
sports
yeah,
betting?
I mean, you got to know when to pull the trigger, right? You got to know when to go big, when to play small. You gotta gamble at some point. I mean,
Right.
you're in here to take risks. That's all. You're taking calculated risks, but you're in here to take risks. So at some point, you got to
Agreed.
turn up your gambling because you can be disciplined, and sometimes you can be a little too disciplined. You know what I'm saying? You could be
Yes.
disciplined and not really meeting your goals because you're not taking that extra risk sometimes. You
Leaving
know what
money
I'm
on the
saying?
table, right?
You know what I'm saying? For example, a lot of
Yeah.
a lot of cappers may have a unit size, right? And whatever that unit size may not never get them to the goal that they want to get them to, and they might have to gamble a little more and say, "Hey, every time I get to this amount, I'm gonna increase my unit size to this, and increase the unit size to meet your goals." So sometimes you have to gamble for sure. But the handicapping, if you're gonna go long term, if you know you're gonna do this every day, if you like to do this, you enjoy it, then don't just continue to gamble and sometimes break it down because there's too much information that's flowing through nowadays that you have access to. Like Dom said, back in the day, out here, and most of the time, if I was going to sports bet, I had to take a trip to Vegas, first of all. Second of all, there wasn't much, there was ESPN and little stuff I could do about the game, but it had nothing to do with real numbers or betting
Right.
or anything. So you'd have newspaper and go through the newspaper and try to pick up some of the stuff
Yeah,
off that.
box
Then there used to
scores.
be you have a, what is it called, Sport Docs, and then there also is the Gold Sheet,
The
who's
gold
been around
sheet,
for
yeah.
ages,
Yes.
and you would have to get one of those to try to get some insight. So now that information is coming so fast, you can bet from home, your phone, whatever, and you have way more access. You have to be more calculated in what you're doing there, especially if you're here to do it long term. But if you're only here for a little while, just for some fun, and this is not something you're going to sustain for a long time, go ahead and gamble. If you're going to do that, take nothing but plus money bets. So if you hit good, you hit good. But you know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's definitely a difference between handicapping and gambling. You definitely have to know when to turn them on and off.
I'm sorry. I started reading the comments, and thanks everybody for coming in. Grit and Grind. G Hernandez, what's up, brother? Jay Peasy, love you, Jay. He says he needs to give up roulette. I hear you, man. But the truth is, we all do it, and that's what I mean about like these guys that come on and talk about how you should gamble and how you should do this and that. They do the same thing. Yeah, we know that parlays are a bad bet mathematically, and I could go over a whole bunch of reasons why. And if you listen to it, you probably shouldn't play any parlays, but they're fun, and there's nothing wrong with like DJ say getting a little risky sometimes. And even guys like us, I consider this like a part-time job. It's part of my income. But still, I still find a recreation out of it, and I still make some plays, even though like a parlay that we probably shouldn't. But if you keep it down to a minimum, there's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
When it comes down to it. But yeah, when it comes to handicapping and gambling, I guess that goes back to what type of gambler you are. If you're going to look at this as to becoming good at sports betting, which eventually that's what we're going to be gearing in on to make people a better sports bettor, period, then you need to definitely learn how to handicap and definitely find that mix that works for you. I think DJ agrees. What works for me might work for you. That's for sure. For me, I'm a grinder. The only thing I'm pretty much conservative in my life is gambling, and the way I do it is I feel like I'm handicapping probably 70% of the cap, and then then I add in the gambling. How am I playing the first five? Am I playing the full game? Am I playing the team total? The numbers, the value on what bet is what, and like that. So we'll get on to the next. But it's a good something to think about. It's a good topic, and it's something I think everybody should think about.